So good evening, it's Andy Picken from Manby's Strongman events here, and I'm really pleased to have Matt Cole with me. Hello, Matt.
Hello, mate. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm not bad. We've just had a chat before this, haven't we, Matt? So really, we've got you on today, really, just to chat the Peak District Highland Games that you competed in, but more broadly, your resume and career. And I have to say, I'm really pleased, I suppose, in some ways, getting introduced through Sean to yourself, to have somebody of your calibre in the under 105 strongman division, in 3 times UK's strongest man as well. You've won that title. So what attracted you to the Highland Games, for example, when we invited you?
I've been always sort of been watching it even as a youngster, you know, throwing the caber and, you know, it's just hearing the bagpipes coming out, how proud of a tradition it is. And, you know, every time I've seen it on YouTube or on Instagram, I want to do that. And then I see Sean done it a couple of years ago, and I got speaking to him about 6 weeks ago, and he said we actually got a comp coming up, and I was like, oh, I might have some 105 competitions actually at a similar time, but if I can get into this, you know, I'll you know, this is a big, for me now at the minute, it's about ticking off bucket lists and doing things that I want to enjoy, and this is definitely one of them that I thought I'd possibly never get a chance to do. And as soon as he said there's a, you know, a little slim chance I could do it, I was like, well, yeah, please let us know. And yeah, Sean come up with the goods, and I've definitely owe him a few beers. Didn't manage to give him get any beers for him on the Sunday because we had to quickly shoot home, obviously. But next time I will definitely sort out a few beers and drinks for getting me involved in this. It's been one of the best experiences I've done, mate. So thank you for the invite.
No, absolutely. And I think you added value to the show as well. And I think as part of you know, us as organisers, we do like to shape the field up. And I'm a big fan of the under 105. I'm a big fan of you know, providing a show that's not only competitive, which it is, but is a performance, because it is. And you saw with the crowd, particularly at Matlock, they absolutely love it. You know, and I had messages saying, you know, my partner's called Matt Cole, and here's the picture of Matt Cole, and all that sort of stuff. But, you know, apart from all that, look at the position you got. And let's be honest, for the new athletes that we bring in the show, it literally is learn on the job. Get there 2 hours before the comp. The caber's there, the stone's there. There's experienced guys. When I say experienced, last couple, you know, 3 or 4 years experience, and it literally was a crash course, wasn't it, of the competition?
It was, mate. It was a lot of learning on the job, but I've got to be honest, I did sort of study the events. I'm one of these that has to drill events. So I did get myself sort of a telephone pole. So I did have a few sessions of practice in that, which sort of went all right. The first session was a disaster, and then I've sort of gone on YouTube and sort of learned techniques of how to do it. But to be honest with you, I was coming into the day sort of not sure how it was going to go. I did find myself a rock to throw in the garden, which I'm quite gutted about, actually. The rock, I weighed the rock, and that's it. I knew it was the same as comp weight, and I was actually getting about 9 or 10 meters on it. On the day, I didn't perform, so I'm a bit gutted, because I went into the competition thinking the stone over the head was my sort of most confident event, to be honest. I held my own on after seeing other sort of distances in previous years, so I didn't perform on that, which I'm gutted about, because those points there could have possibly, you know, it could have panned out a little bit different, where I think it's 2 or 3 points from top. So hopefully next time I can hit that if there is a stone throw. But yeah.
Absolutely. And we've just been talking, haven't we, before we hit the record button on here, about the rise of the under 105 division. And for people that don't know, he's around about 16 and a half weight, which is still big, let's be honest. So compared to the average person, 16 and a half stone is still a big lump of a guy. But compared to maybe some of the opens where you can be, you know, anything from above that, 16 up to 28 stone or whatever stature you've got, you know, the 105s, and I've seen it in many comp, and still give the bigger guys a run for the money. We mentioned, didn't we, the deadlifts coming up to 400 at international level, log presses 180, you know, so you're still extremely good athletes at that weight as well.
Yeah, like we're saying, like 10 years ago, the weights that we're doing at UK's at 105s, and that now is, 10, 12 years ago is what you're seeing on telly at Christmas when you're seeing the greats doing it. You know, like we spoke about the farmers, and I see an axle clean and press over the head. It's what we're doing now, and that's how much the sports come on. And we can hold her, like on Sunday, it was apparent that the weight advantage on the truck pull for us lighter guys, depending on the event, we can definitely pull some shocks. It's always going to be tough a little bit statically, but if it's over a longer distance of time, 105 fitness might kick in. The endurance, the speed, depending on if it was a medley, the speeds are going to kick in if it was a pressing medley. So there's loads of different, you can never rule us out really. Pound for pound, we're pretty good for your money. So yeah, it is.
And I noticed, Matt, as well, I think one of your favourite events, if I get it right, when I ask all the athletes, if you like, what was your favourite event and various things for the programme, and I think yours were farmers, wasn't it? I think there's something farmers not filled in. So, speed, grip, I suppose, comes into that as well. So that's probably one of the good examples of it. So in terms of this event then, so people that don't know, I mean, we mix it, don't we, with strongman, but we try and give it the Highland feel to it. So you've got the kilts, we've got the bagpipers bringing you in. So we try to make it as Scottish as we can. It's in the Peak District, so yeah, it's arguably we haven't got the elevation of the Highlands. We've got some nice peaks out there as well. So we give it the full Highland theme, and then we mix some of the events. So the first event's log press, and I noticed only you came seventh there with seven reps, and that was a brand new log. That was a log that Dale Peters did, as it's based on Giant's Live log. So a lot of the guys hadn't lifted it there, and I know that the size of the handles compared to the cylinder ones that you can roll up, but you still got seven reps there, which were good mid-table anyway, around about 120 kilo. How did that feel?
You know what? We come in from the bagpipes, and then you said, "Oh, Matt Cole, you're out first," and I was like, "Whoa, all right." It kind of caught me a little bit off guard, but it was almost like it was my first comp again. My legs did go a little bit, to be honest with you, and I'm happy. I'm happy with the 7, especially this year I've had with my shoulder injury. I kind of went into wanting sort of the 8, 7, 8. I knew I was going to get close to that, but looking back now, I could have played it a little bit different. But unless you win the event, you're always going to look back, I wish I'd done that, done this. But I was sort of going out first. I didn't really know what to expect rep-wise, but someone had to do it, and I'm happy to do it because we're getting the first rep of the competition. It was brilliant, mate, listening to that roar. So, I don't regret it.
And let's be honest, you were the first athlete out. All the crowd are geared up. I think over the years we've built that games up, but the weather can change. It obviously can affect crowd attendance and stuff. But I'm pretty proud when I go out and I think, you know what, great this. I look forward to each year because of the crowd, and you certainly got a great reception on that first go, because normally people dread being. They like to chase. Some people like to chase the pack, don't they?
Yeah, possibly I could have maybe squeezed another ref out if I knew sort of what everyone was getting, but at the end of the day, I'll never forget that experience opening the show. First event, mate. So yeah, I would have took that at the start if you said 7. So
yeah. So 7 reps mid-table. So I'm just going through some of the events. Then we go on to the stone throw, and again hit 6th position. This is out of a field of about 14 athletes. So again, mid-table. Me and but from people outside the sport, sometimes they don't realise it's consistency. This with strongman scoring points on the board, and sometimes somebody who slips below the podium, they see another athlete get 2nd position or whatever, and then a couple of events down the line thinking, how come they're not up there, and how come they've suddenly had a really good event as you did on the Destiny? You'd already secured those mid-table points, and then from 3rd or 4th event onwards, you're top 3. So stone throw, 7 meter 60. I thought that was really good, because these events have a habit, and you said you've been practicing, you're catching people out as well, but they're different. And I know Sean's been studying, and Sean Blaise, I mean, he's another one who impresses me again. He did well at Rotherham. Has been watching some of the good throwers like Scott of throwing the body into it. Yeah. So John was doing that, and we're actually landing on the floor as he was throwing the stone and getting the most leverage on it.
Yeah, I was a bit unsure with that one on the day, whether you could actually travel over the line, but I definitely will be looking at changing things up for the next time. Like I said a bit earlier, that's the only one I'm a little bit disappointed with, because I didn't quite hit the sort of angles I should have done with the release, which didn't enable me to get the meters that I had been doing in training. But it was the same for everybody. You only had 2 throws each, but that's what I will change next time, like in my training, sort of make sure I nail it straight on. Like, instead of having 10 goes at training, you're going to have 2 goes, and you've got to make sure they're perfect. Because I did that. Yes, the only thing I'm a bit upset about is that one, mate. But yeah, it's brilliant. Like Sean did, he over-adapted, and you see the others. That's how they was doing it. And his first row was completely different to his second, and I think he got another, over a metre by just changing it on the spot. So with things like that, I've got to learn from it, and I had took it on board. You've got to adapt on the situation from it, and it was good, mate. I really like that event.
I think looking at it, and I'm sure it was Scott. When I'm looking at here, Scott Mark Litchfield in the stone throw got first. Now, sure, when he went backwards, he did a hop and then a jump. Sure, it was that one. Then threw it backwards. And I've not seen him do that before, but he's been pretty good at that event throughout the years. And I thought that's a new one. And all the guys, this is a fun show. Don't get me wrong. It's a fun show. It's a good vibe. And as you know, and a couple of others that came in as complete newbies to a group of guys that have actually done that for 5 years now, so they know each other. I think they're quite welcoming. I mean, I would say that, but I think they are quite welcoming. They all want to win and stuff, but they are a decent bunch of guys, but they've learnt as they go along, and they all have the game face on. Now, I noticed Jake Rideout, for example, he really was taking it serious this year. I know he was disappointed to fall down the table a bit, but it's got more competitive. So in terms of the stone club, that if we look through here, so you're a little bit disappointed with that, but again, 6th, so just mid-table again, just below mid-table. Tractor pull is the one that I saw you slip the most, but still again 8th, so just over mid-table. We have got some big pullers in there. Some of the bigger guys. Dave Thornton always comes 1 or 2 in that. Obviously, who won the competition outright. Jake Rideout did well, and Ryan Martin. Now tractors, as we know, that them tyres are an absolute pain, because as you know yourself, you've probably pulled heavier 20-ton buses. We've done a 44-ton truck in July in Lincoln, and the guys hate the 8-ton tractor more than that. Just getting over the inertia of those wheels. They're designed to dig in and grip.
Yeah, I've got to be honest with you. That's the second time I've ever pulled something. So I sort of, once again, I've done a lot of arm over arm seated, but in terms of the harness, that's my second time, mate. So I was sort of learning on the job, and there's definitely, I can definitely knock a few seconds off there, I think, even being lighter. But like you said earlier on, with everyone, they was giving me tips throughout. I think they knew I haven't done a lot of these events, and they were brilliant with me. Like you say, for some they didn't know coming in, and they've got their own sort of bond already, but he sort of welcomed me. And a lot of events, they was talking me through like the little tips, and I learned so much from that, and obviously it worked. But even like I say with the tractor, I didn't have the shoes or nothing like that, like the other boys. So I was unprepared there. My positioning wasn't as good. But so next time, hopefully I can knock a few seconds off that as well, which I'd like to do, which is, seconds equal points, don't they?
And as we know, Matt, yeah. And really, Clem, when you're looking at here, if you took off 3 seconds there, you'd been 5th, because you were 8th there. There were Joe, Liverpool strongest man there, 32.8. So you're only split by sort of 0.5 seconds there. So, but when you look at the top 3 on that, there's no surprises for me knowing the guys. Ryan Martin, a newbie, big heavy guy, really well on the truck pull. Dave Thornton always up there, and Jay Rideout. So that doesn't surprise me. But mass doesn't always move mass. When you look at the women's, where Nikki Walters and Millie obviously at 15, one of her first comps, but Chloe coming in at 10 stone and winning that event. That I actually expected Nikki to win that event. I mean, she won overall, but it can be. What it does prove is that's not always the case. You don't have to be massive and heavy to pull it.
Definitely not. If you've got your technique nailed and your fast feet and quick arms, mate, and your cardio's good, especially that last few meters, and you can carry on pulling right way through. Yeah, you can definitely, like you say, mate. It doesn't necessarily mean the heavier guy wins for sure, mate.
Absolutely, and I know, with Dave, when I've spoke to Dave, I know when he trains with sleds, so he's pulling sleds. So he'll say that every time he lifts his foot off the ground, you haven't got momentum like you would with wheels. Obviously, you've got friction all the time and drag, so you constantly have you constantly have to train your body to be pulling all the time. So you're not even getting that 1 second break as you lift your foot up with the wheels moving. You've got a sled that's dragging you back. So I know some of the guys trained specifically for that event. Dave's one of them, although he did pull out some surprises in the end for all of us at the event. But I think from third event onwards, though, when I look at these scorecards, Matt, this is where you just come into your own for me. So you look at the caber toss here, third place, 9 meters, which I think is great if you've just been learning how to, toss a caber there. So we got 9 meters 70 top place, Dave Thought, and Ryan Martin 9 meters 10, which I thought did really well as well, because Ryan's the first time I've had him in any of our comps. And then you 9 meters, and this is where you start racking up the points. So how did that feel then? Because it's not as long as the traditional 19 feet caber, and when you look at the ones in Scotland, they're thinner as well, aren't they? This is a heavy lump.
Yeah, like I mentioned earlier, I've got a sort of a telephone pole chopped down. So having this one a little bit tapered down to one end, and so you was able to flip it to have slightly heavier end at the top. I've made a difference with how it travelled, and I hit quite a good first attempt, which gave me confidence, and took a gamble on the second one to be a bit more aggressive with it and less cautious in terms of gaining a little bit more speed on the run up, more aggression in the dip. And I think I added another meter from attempt 1 to my second attempt. So, so I thought my tactic was sort of just get a good one under my belt, and then second, sort of give it a bit more on the second, more aggression, and it paid off. Yeah, I was happy with that, to be honest with you.
And I mean, I study it, and when I look at the caber, there's a technique to it as well. Although you've got to have the strength, it's almost the timing. And I've seen some of the guys when they throw it, maybe it is a bit lucky, or they've been practicing it, where when you're leaning forward, you're almost using the weight of the caber to your advantage, getting the time when it tilts forward, getting enough push on it to maybe even get a bounce, because sometimes when the caber's landed, it's bounced a bit, road tossed, and then bounced and maybe gained a couple of feet and stuff. So there's definitely a technique to the caber. You don't see it in the gym.
No, do you know what? One of my my best man.
You won't get that down pure gym, would you?
No, definitely not. I think it'll be gathering dust if it did. But I'm one of my best man, my best mate. He's a joiner, so I've already been tapping him up whether he can sort of make one for me, so I can practice it regularly. But however, I don't think throwing it in the garden.
Yeah, well, I think I had that last lot. Then I had all sorts of stuff that didn't look aesthetically pleasing to my partner in my garden that I was told to shift out at way, like a gazebo with a gym and bench press and all sorts of, and we had to do that. And then Stone of Destiny, obviously Matt just absolutely smashed that. 9.29 seconds, first place. Absolute line on the pickup as well. Now, we run this event in Rotherham last Sunday, but we use the Husserl stone. So it is a bit more, obviously, it's manufactured, so you can get your forearms underneath it. I think it's worth saying to people that are watching this that this stone is a natural stone. It's hard to handle. It's got the bits you can put the forearms underneath, and you only have to see some of the pictures of the guys' forearms after skin off and what have you. But it's an awkward thing as well. But you just pick that up, and again, as the under 105, immensely powerful, quick off the line, came back 9.29 seconds. Nobody come near you with that, really. How did that feel?
Once again, I had people telling me how to hold the stone. Like the way I was about to pick it up was completely wrong. So and then Thompson come over and said, you want your right arm underneath this bit of the stone. It could have all been different if he didn't give me that tip. So it shows you how good the Highland Games is for the support. Not just the crowd, the fellow competitors. Want to see you do well. You know what I mean? So. It could have been a total different pickup if I didn't just have that little, where he's done the stone before. He knows where you put your arms and that, where obviously we've been speaking about learning almost on the job. It makes it, if you've got your hands in a better position, you've got to pick it up easier and move with it quicker. So I have a lot to thank him for that for. That was all great. That was, I ain't got enough highly praised words to give them all. They were brilliant.
And I think, Mark, as I say, he's done that shirt quite well now, and he's just genuine. And I'll just help him. And we're helping Dave Thornton on the honorary Dinny Stone strapping up, and I always same at Rotherham. You know, he's helping people out. He throws himself in there, and it's nice to see him too, because everybody wants to get points on the. But at the same time, it does help, doesn't it, when new people come in, just to have somebody say, you know, just try it this way, because that stone's caught them all out actually before. But you know, they've learned on the job themselves over the years. We have seen that stone drop, you know, and of course we didn't have a sack trolley that day, so poor Jack Richard Tiley was bringing that past. Probably more than the guys that were doing it.
The trolley come out.
So yeah, I mean that
time, didn't it?
I think
the trolley and
that
the event was just finished.
It was, you know, whose trolley it was? I think it was Thornbridge Brewery.
Yeah.
You know, the bar, they had them for the kegs there, so they borrowed it from there. But I mean, that was quite funny. Quite a lot of people messages on Facebook going, those two made us laugh from the crowd. And then when we come to the end of it, it's become, you know, it's becoming a bit legendary, really, the Dinny Stones. And we can't call them Dinny Stones, really, because the originals are in Scotland, and that's theirs. And they're all Dinny Stones, or whatever you want to call them, but very similar. Got the rings in. On that stony platform as well, which I think maybe can be a bit awkward, as depending where you go, the guys shuffle about and it gets a bit uneven. You know, you step up and broke the original record of 1 minute 8 seconds, which was Scott's, and he's held for a few years. And then obviously Dave just really surprised everybody, because he doesn't like that event and really come on. But let's concentrate on you and this, because you were the first one to break that record that day, and I couldn't believe it that you're holding on for that long. 71.56 or what, 1 minute 11 seconds. How did that feel again?
I don't know if you remember, for the comp I messaged you and said, you know, I've done 2 sets at, you know, 90% of comp weight for 40 seconds, and I've never felt pain like it. Like, it's made me sleep all weekend after. So I sort of knew I had 40 seconds in me, but I've got to be honest, I've been struggling with even with my replicas I got at home with the plate loaded ones, like getting a position I was sort of happy with. So I walked up to the stones and I couldn't find how I had a look before I walked out. The stones have moved, obviously, because the other competitors have had a go. So I just couldn't get comfortable. So I took a gamble and picked them up like farmers. And I've said to my dad and all my mates, you know, in the gym before I come up, if I lift them, I will go down like the Titanic with them if I have to, because I'm weird like that. I don't mind pain like that. If you said to me go for a 2-mile run, that's more up here than doing something like a hold for time. And I knew, you know, I had that time. I was pretty confident I could do that if I lift it. I don't mind that sort of pain. So I just wish. Hopefully next time, I say, obviously I've got another time to beat, and hopefully there's not too many people going after me on that time, so it doesn't get broken in, because it definitely helps when you've got a number to chase, that's for sure. And like Dave said, you kind of go through spells of really tough, and it gets a little bit easier. And it was one of those where I was so I've gone past that, got that second win, got that pain threshold. And I feel like even if I had to go another 10 seconds, I could have done it, because I've sort of gone past where my shoulder on the right stone felt like it was going to pop at the 40 second mark. I've kind of gone past that sort of pain. And that's the little bit different when you hold them as a straddle position. It sort of goes through your core more. So I've sort of built up over the 3 or 4 weeks where I was training it a little bit of stability through here. But I hadn't with the lopsided stone, so that's why my shoulder felt like it potentially would come out. So that's the only disadvantage of that wave for me. I wasn't quite ready for that, and that's the only potential reason I stuck it down once I got a couple of seconds past the other record. So I thought it's going to either pop out, and I'm going to have to train for a few months, and that's sort of weighing up in my head, is it worth it? But I do feel I could potentially add some more seconds to that if I had to. So I'm looking forward to trying that again.
Well, you've only got a couple of seconds, haven't you? Because between you and Dave here, there was two seconds or something like that. And then, of course, I think when you're talking about technique, when I've watched this, you know, if you get the pickup wrong and the swing, you've had it. And, you know, they start swinging and brushing against your leg and they're sliding out your grip. You had a really smooth pick up. And somebody else who demonstrated this on the day and didn't hold it for time, but I knew she'd get carried away, was Chloe Brennan at 10. And I thought that was just because I didn't expect to lift there. I'm honest, you know, we said, well, let's give her a go. And then she went and did it. I watched her. She has lifted the original Dinny Stones before, and she was very focused on getting the positioning right, if you remember, and there was a technique where she got her feet right and everything else, and she demonstrated that yes, you can lift at body weight, obviously as a woman, using some technique, not holding on, but it was literally a bit of a crowd play. She got carried away. She didn't actually want to do that, and we never had that in the women's. She whispered in my ear, and she went, you know what, will you let me have a go with her? You know, we couldn't turn it down, could we? But that is what brilliant. You've said. It's about practice. It's about honing your technique on these things like the caber toss, the stone throw, and the honorary Dinny Stones. There's a technique, and I think you get better each time you try them. You obviously like farmers. You've got that grip. You treat it like that, and it works to your benefit.
That's a complete gamble, that was, mate. When I was walking out there, I was going to straddle it, and then I couldn't find my position. So I just knew if I stayed in that position in the straddle and I weren't quite happy with it, it zaps your energy. If you muck about and you don't get it up quite first time, even if you're not lifting it, your energy bar's going down and down and down, and your adrenaline's kicking in, you're sweating even though you ain't doing that. I just knew I didn't want to be mucking about with it for too long. And I'll give it a first go, and it didn't feel good. So I just said to Sean Wright and Mark, like, this set them up for farmers. So I've never, not even trained it like that. I just thought, right, if I can pick it up in there, it's going to probably get more seconds than me not being happy with the position. But yeah, definitely, mate. When you're straddling them, you definitely need to have all your angles right and your foot, your toes pointing in the same in the correct position. You need to keep it nice and close to your sort of parallel lines, and yeah, there's definitely a technique to it. As you see, if someone 10 stone can lift it, if you get your angles and you train it hard and you're strong like that, you can lift it, and you've got the heart.
And I know we've talked about, haven't we, over what is it, Portlack Bridge or something, Brian shows the way you pick the original Dinny Stones and you walk with them, and I think Laurie Shalala's done something similar. I've seen as well. We have it as a static event, but we have talked about do we do that? We haven't really firmed up yet. But I mean, certainly in that area and between the competitors, those stones are becoming a bit of a, like a real signature event to that competition, just because the pictures you get from the Highland Games, I absolutely love them. And the cabers caught mid-air, even, or the pictures, always I look at them and I think, they're absolutely fantastic, them, because it's just something different, isn't it?
I've messaged Steve and said thank you so much, because they're ones to keep. They're brilliant. You'd paid for them, to be quite honest with you. Like, they're brilliant, and
Steve's fantastic, isn't he? Steve's one. You get him in every sport, these unsung heroes that are a fan of the sport themselves and travels up and down the country. Not just to our shows. He's all over the place, into Steve. He takes these great pictures, and they must, and they do. So I've spoken to him before. They take hours and hours and hours to edit, to download. And he always takes some fantastic photos, doesn't he?
Yeah, I think we should all get a little whip round for him next year, and give him some money for his time. I think that would be great. I think we really appreciate it. I know all of us athletes appreciate it. So, yeah, or just give him a couple of bottles of drink or whatever his tickle is.
Absolutely. So to sort of conclude, what were your reflections? Because I'm interested, Matt, from your point of view. There's only two people run what we do, and we got into this. We sort of had a vision, and we started off with some shows. Lost money, if I'm totally honest. We tried to create something bigger and hired a rugby stadium out that didn't go that well with a Highland Games event. It was the wrong demographic, I think. And then we were still adamant, and I was, me and Matt said, I thought, what, we can't really be giving time, weekends away from your family and stuff into something that we clearly love, but actually making a loss in it. Then we got this Highland Games idea of mixing it with Strongman. We trademarked it and went through all this, and then we did a show, and it just went down so well in Barnsley, and we thought we can build on this. Then we took it over to Wakefield, and then we thought we'll try Matlock, and we spoke with Matlock and said, yes, we'll put this show on. And the first show was pretty good. the 2018 show built again. The 2019 show was absolutely red hot and absolutely fantastic crowd. 2020 COVID hit and we did a bit of a demo and you know, it wasn't really competition. And then obviously this show, yeah, again, like 2019, a great show. What were your reflections? I mean, what I expect, because as we know, with a lot of strongmen, you can be, you don't know where you're going to turn up. You turn up and you're in a car park with 20 people watching. And actually, sometimes when you come to this new actor, I think, oh my God, this is actually, it's a lot bigger than what I thought.
Yeah, I knew it was going to be special because Sean has been telling me how good it is, you know, and how special you feel as an athlete, and how much they look after you, and you know, how much the crowd get behind you. I've seen obviously pictures from previous years, and you know, wanted to be a part of it, so I knew it was going to be good. But you know, everything about it was brilliant. The bagpipes, you know, where we're moving around the venue as well with the truck pull onto the road and the crowd are up the side. You know, going back to the entrance, walking in, then you got the entertainment. Everything about it was, you know, the variation of the events, the stand now you've got there, that was good. You know, obviously that's new. Yeah, all the little finer touches. Yeah, it's brilliant. It's going to get better and better each year, obviously. So, you know, I can't wait to see what it's going to be like next year. Yeah, it's brilliant.
Well, we definitely have you on, Matt. I think you know it's getting harder and harder now. If I'm totally honest, to be the amount of messages I've had, we want to be part of this comp, went to rolling because of, you know, it's got about and stuff, and there's so many people in there. But I think you certainly deserve your place. And I don't ever want it to sort of be an elitist club, and that's why I personally love having the regional guys in as well, you know, that maybe are never going to hit the podium, but equally enjoy and get the fruits of their training and get to meet you. And like I was saying, Matt Thompson said to me, was one of my idols him, and they get to mix with the caliber of athletes that they look up to as well. So it's a real good mix to have some really high level national champions like yourself, and I know you maybe got world ambitions as well, but then also mix with those you know, those competitors that just sit at regional level as well. So it gives a good dynamic, I think, as well, and it helps them, it inspires them when they see you to look and think, you know, I'm a similar body, I need to you know, improve my training. I'm looking at Matt and it's inspired me, or Chloe for as another one, with a lot of the, you know, kids that were coming up going, you know, you've inspired me.
That's it. I almost had the jaw ache how many pictures I had at the end. It was brilliant. It was, you know, I don't never smile so much. It was so nice. People coming up to you saying things like you just said, like, oh, you've made me want to sign up to a competition. This is my first strongman competition. You were my favourite. I was cheering you all day. Little things like that mean a lot, and it makes it all worthwhile, you know. And
I mean, I think, Matt, on that day you are, and you know, I don't want it to sound really cheesy, but certainly at that show, the athletes are celebs. And, you know, we had a bit of a joke on the chat with Scott, you know, saying we're the celebs of this show. Can we have a private toilet and all? You know, it's a bit of banter actually. We did put, because that is a bit of an issue if you're having to track to the toilet and queue up, to have one near the arena and stuff. It's a bit of a joke, but actually, you know, I said to Scott when I spoke to him, I said, you actually are though. You know, I said, on that day, you know, when that crowd turned up, which is a different audience to a Giants Live audience, maybe, you know, it's a mix of people that you maybe go to the farm venue, have seen it, it's of interest to them, but they don't follow the sport at all. When they come there, you know, Matt Cole, you know, with your resume, you are their celeb, as is Mark Thompson, as is, you know, Dave Thornton and all the other guys. You know, they want the pictures taken with you. It's all social media. I want Instagram. I'm at Peak. You know, and hopefully that adds to the experience of you guys, and you take that away, and it gives you that lift, and it gives you that extra motivation to think, I'm going to come back next year and I'm going to smash that caber or whatever it is.
I've already got it, mate. I've already got it. So, you know, it's only 2 weeks ago, and I'm thinking about, you know, 50 weeks away now. All right, next year. So, yeah, it's a bug. It's giving me the Highland bug. So, yeah, it's a brilliant one.
Well, what we'll do, Matt, is thank you very much for your time. We'll wrap it up. But just before we do wrap it up, I don't know if you've seen your old friend Sean Blair stealing the limelight today on BBC Radio Stoke, and I think it's Stoke Centennial, the newspaper, did an interview with him this afternoon. I've had 3 phone calls this afternoon to arrange to get in touch with Sean to do interviews with him. He was messaging me saying, I'm not used to this, mate. Or listening to him on the breakfast show at 7 o'clock this morning. We always try to do that after a show. We will send out press release. It depends on whether it's picked up, but sometimes it is. And the Highland Games, for some reason, even attracts, the media to pick it up rather than just a strongman comment. They'll pick it up, So he's had all the media attention today. You'll have to check in with him. Right, and Matt, thank you very much for your time. I'll let you get back to your evening. But yeah, thank you very much, and hopefully we'll see you again next year.
You definitely will, mate. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you. Take care.